I don't have it. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Second Lap. It's Gramps, your host, sitting on a bench next to the lake before we get this kicked off. I wanted to talk to people and do a podcast for, I'm going to say probably a decade now. I'm getting into the, call it 8 to 9 years. And along the path, kept wanting to. And I'm one of those procrastinators. Like I am a world-class heavyweight champion of the world procrastinator. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, nothing when you come to procrastination. And so a couple of years ago, decided I'm going to get this thing kicked off. And I went to a gentleman who we're going to bring on as a guest in just a second. And he helped me to realize what I knew and what I didn't know and how much farther I needed to go. And I would almost call him my first producer. And then I'm going to have to call Ronnie the third producer if that's the case. So let's bring on the guest. We'll bring on Max.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you?
The first producer in history who can't even pronounce the word producer. So that bodes well. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, no worries. I'm glad you're here. 38,071 miles for those that are taking notes and keeping track. At some point we may have, hey, on podcast, whatever, how many miles is Robbie at? And it'll be good to know. So you were the guy a couple years ago that I sat down, stood up, whatever we did as a quick Zoom and talked through and really helped sort of, I think the biggest thing that I think at the top of my list, and I was going to look at the Google Notes because I still have access to it and I didn't look at it, but I think the first thing was like, have your top or first 10 guests. Like your first 10 guests was like, hey, you got to get these things and do the guests. I'm going to start walking because this is what I'm known for. Get the guests. And then there was a bunch of other stuff where it was like, man, I didn't realize it was going to take all this to do this. I just wanted to talk to people. And I'm grateful for it. And I've watched you continue to do podcasts. I watch your podcasts and I watch a lot of your clips. I try to steal one of your jokes from here and there. I know I was giving you a hard time.
Hold on. Now you're saying you're stealing my jokes, or before
in the green room
for my quality of jokes.
In the green room, I tried to keep you, down a little bit, but I am admitting I do steal some of your jokes from time to time. And I think the reason is because they're semi-funny, but they're clean. Like I can tell your jokes, and I don't have to worry about retribution. And as a grandfather, I got to be careful.
Well, you haven't heard all my jokes then. We'll just leave it at that.
I hope there's some more better later. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you accepted to do this. We're going, I don't remember how many months now. We're over a year of doing this. We've learned a lot. We've probably still got a hell of a lot more things to learn. Going live and doing this live. We've had microphone issues, we've had app things, we've had all sorts of things, and we usually take it in stride, but it's been fun. And I'm grateful that, I had you as sort of the first nudger. Like, I don't want to say producer because I wasn't doing it, but it was like you would reach out and say, hey, you got any information back for me yet? Like, hey, you want to have another conversation? And I probably always didn't show it, but I was grateful for it, and I'm glad that I'm doing this now. So you have some sort of culpability in what I'm doing.
Well, I have to call you out because you said we take it in stride, which is the perfect way to describe a podcast about a guy who won't stop walking. So nicely done there.
Thank you.
The real pun master is there. But Robbie, which I always go back and forth about calling you Rob and Robbie. I can't. Maybe I'll just call you Gramps today to make up for the lacking of that.
And any one of them, all three are good.
But I it's really fun looking back, and I get nostalgic about those early brainstorms, those conversations we had, and it's so cool Like, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but then when you think about it, like it was, it was multiple years ago, and it's really cool to see like how much this podcast and this platform and kind of your mission has grown from the early days and some potential ideas for podcasts and like literally, exchanging Google Docs and
Right.
brainstorming all sorts of ideas there to now it's just like, the thread throughout this is like you've been what you care about, what you want to, the message you want to spread. And walking has been the thread that obviously ties everything together. So it's really cool. You've taken this, lap around the world, and then you're like, you know what? I didn't start one in time for my first lap around the world. Why not do a second lap? And so it's so cool at what you're doing now. So it is a
Thank you.
pinch me walking moment for me too.
It's no, I appreciate it. And I think, there was lots of ideas, and even Ronnie, preaches to me about segments and trying to stay in the lines, and I've always colored outside the lines. Like, I've always been like, hey, I want to do it. And so we do try to do some of the, call it segmentation, that make podcasts more successful, or at least appear to define them in the genre. I still like just try to do things normally and have conversations with people that I find interesting. And the feedback that I've gotten from I call it the field, or from people that I'm friends with that listen, is it feels authentic. It feels genuine. It feels like you're doing, something that you're comfortable with and you're enjoying, and keep doing it. Like, so I've had good feedback that way. So I'm really, don't know where I was going with that. I was going to ask, what what do you think is the biggest thing that has changed in podcasting from, call it, our first conversation, and as went prime time to now? Because it feels like it's iterated some.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the easiest one that everybody knows already is just the crazy growth of video and how every new podcast, not every new, but to give you an example, like when I started Max Podcasting summer 2020, the vast majority of my new clients and early clients were only assuming podcast is audio, and
Okay.
maybe eventually somebody was like, maybe we'll record this with the camera too, and maybe we'll turn it into something. Now any potential new client I'm talking about, like vast majority of them are assuming that podcast entails video as well. And
Okay.
audio has always been a part of it, but there's many new hosts that are just kind of assume that, like, all right, we're going to release this on YouTube, maybe the other platforms as well, as a visual as well. So that's the biggest thing. And that's obviously been a big thing we changed with the business Max Podcasting, is making sure that we had some help as far as video editing and video editors, because that to be able to provide the best podcast production service, you have to provide what the people want, and more people are wanting video. But I will say, I'm a huge fan of audio. Like, I don't think audio is ever going away. It's more of just
Right.
now there's the video option too, and everybody's got their preferences on what they like to consume, how they like to consume.
Do you think that the video is driven by YouTube Shorts and the cutting of the podcast into bite-sized chunks? Like, if it wasn't for that, I feel that I would still just listen. Like, I have access to Spotify, and I'll call it Joe Rogan, wherever, but most of the time he's in my back pocket. Like, I'm just listening to him.
Which is really, oh, you guys are cute together.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's totally social media driven, and call it the TikTokification of everything. So I mean,
Okay.
same thing as YouTube Shorts. TikTok, the first time I downloaded it, shout out my friend Spence, who got it, this was probably 2017, 2018, got all of my friends. He like sent us the invite link for TikTok, and we all felt
Okay.
too old for it. We all still feel too old for it. Everybody's too old for TikTok. But I remember like the first time just scrolling through my TikTok feed, I'm like, this is the fastest thing I've ever seen. Like, it made Instagram and Instagram stories feel so old and outdated. And I think
Really?
that aspect of just how quick things move, and how it's like how short clips need to be, and the whole video vertical format of that, I think that just kind of exponentially accelerated that. Hey, this is a great way to share stuff, and there's immense hunger for people just to like watch so much of really short content like that. And then of course now you can, with Reels, it's all over Instagram and Facebook, and every platform has their short form content aspect. So I think you're absolutely right of like, whether it's YouTube Shorts or TikTok, whatever, like the fact of these clips on social media, like people, even if they're not releasing the full video, people want to now at least create some clips from that. So that's the main thing. And of course, people can always tune into the full, we love it when people turn into the full interviews and full live streams, whatever you want to be it. I think that's more for kind of like your diehard fans or people that are really intrigued by a guest or a specific episode you have.
Sure. I was going to say sometimes, if I'm listening to something and there's some graphics or there's things that, really interesting, or as you said, I'm going to sit down and I'm actually going to just sit and watch this, like it's just my entertainment or TV replacement, then I'll put the video on. But most of the time I'm still listening to them as I'm walking. Like you said, I'm always walking, and so I'm listening to them while I'm moving, or I'm in the car, or it's follow me podcast, and so I'm listening. But it felt to me, and you've already answered it, so I'm not trying to beat the witness, but it felt to me like even with Smartless or the ones that are being driven by Bateman and these big guys, you go to Spotify and there's no video. The video is just on social media, so it just feels like we're double dipping. Like we're doing the video, you and me, we're doing this right now. Most people listen to it. We do have the live stuff, so I do force people to look at me at times. But the real value will be with the Opus clips that Ronnie will cut up later, that then will be in, call it 30 to 60 second bites that people do watch, and I add to my stories and things like that. So yeah, it's just interesting. It feels like we're getting more out of it by just adding this little piece as opposed to inventing a whole second stream.
Yeah. And actually on the tech or logistical side of that, the other big driver of everything is just that, I mean, we're on StreamYard right now. Like there's so many great platforms now that you can record with video. Right. And of course, the higher bandwidth, the higher internet connectivity you have, the better. But there's a lot you can do. Obviously, with COVID, it skyrocketed people's familiarity and comfortability with Zoom and having their face on camera and doing, remote conversations like this. So the tech, I think, at the same time over the past 5-6 years has been there, and that's always improving. And now StreamYard's an example, but like Squadcast now becoming Descript and Riverside, like there's platforms that are specifically for podcasting, and those inherently are for like high quality video too. So I think the tech side is there as well.
I hear you. I wanted to switch gears. So I was making, once again, the green room, the dad jokes. You're a dad. You became a dad in 2025. How has that changed you?
Thank you. It's been, well, you didn't even say congrats, but I just said thank you. So thanks again. But it is
congrats.
It's
again.
Oh, thanks. That was totally unprompted. So it's the best thing in the world. I mean, it is, you hear all the cliches, it well, like,
right.
I don't think anything can totally prepare you for it until you finally have a kid. And then once it happens, it really changes your outlook on life. And this is one of the best ways I've ever described it, but I had a guest, Jordan Scott, who was probably 3 or 4 years ago now at this point on Wild Business Growth. And she had just had a baby a few months before we recorded. And I was like, what's that like? Which, me still being a little kid being like, what's it like to be a parent?
Right.
She was like, what it's like? It's like discovering a new color that you didn't know existed. And it's like the most beautiful color in the world. And so like, it's not like it took anything out of your life. It's like, it just added something, and it's like the most beautiful thing ever. And I thought that was a really great analogy. And so I totally see that. But our daughter, Jamie, she's, a little over 14 months now, and she's the best. Like, it's just, we're so lucky that we get to obviously spend so much time with her. And it's, right. I get pumped, even though I'm waking up earlier now, and last night she had us up for an hour from, midnight to 1 a.m.
Okay.
it's still like, it's just awesome. Like I can't wait to like see her and hang with her and play with her every day. And it's how much she develops, every week, every month it's really, the whole biology development process is really mind blowing. It's really fun to kind of experience that.
For sure. No, as I say, they're like Play-Doh, like they're fresh Play-Doh, and they're molding and right in front of your eyes. Like they're discovering, they're testing boundaries, they're making sure you're still there, they're exploring, and they're what most of us adults need is they're very curious. And it's almost like you get to learn how to rediscover curiosity through their eyes. So
Totally. Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
like, I can't wait till, I mean, she's a little young for this now. Like, she doesn't just like sit there and watch a show, but like, I can't wait to like, well, one, see like, see what Bluey's all about. Bluey's taking over the world. So obviously Bluey's
Right.
got to be pretty entertaining. But to rewatch all those like, Disney movies and Pixar movies and kids movies, like when she gets of age for that. And then, when she's older, like watch like Star Wars with her. And like, I can't wait for all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it's like, you really find your youth again. That's a way to put it.
Yeah.
But like you asked how else it's changed me. And I think it just, it definitely puts everything else in perspective. Like even if you have like a rough day or something unexpected at work or something crazy happen, it's just kind of like, hang out with your kid for an hour or two before bed. And it kind of resets everything. And it's just really nice. So yeah, I'm loving it.
That's great. That's great. And is she walking? Like she appears like she's
so
mobile.
close. Yeah,
Okay.
she's so close. Yeah, you're probably referencing, I've shared some pictures recently where she's like standing or maybe cruising on some stuff. She's so close, like, where we think it's within the next month or so that she'll actually walk, but who knows? That could always change. But she's, recently she's very good at standing. She's become like very sturdy, and she's taken a step, and daycare has told us she took two steps in a row. Like, so she's dabbling in it, but she's not quite to the point where she's running around everywhere, which I guess is good for Dana and I. We're saving our energy for now, but she's always on the move, whether it's crawling or walking, holding our hands, or just cruising around. Like she's my dad, her grandpa, said she loves motion in any form. So like she loves being on the swing. She loves when we put her down the slide, like any sort of toy that we give her that's like a walker. Like she loves it. So we're bracing for about to be that much more tired chasing her around when she does start walking fully.
That's gonna be great. No, that's an awesome time. And you're lucky. Like it feels like that's a little bit delayed and you guys having to sort of chase her, but I'm sure she's crawling around and you've had to like,
yeah, she's nonstop.
Nonstop.
I mean, we had to get like a playpen to just be like, all right, when both of us have our hands tied, like what, we can't, like she's got to be somewhere.
yeah. I remember that. You're lucky. Those are great times. And you told me how you feel. I was going to say, I had a couple of questions that I prepped for, and then, I walked around a little bit and I forgot them. Anything that's really surprised you? Like, hey, I didn't think I would do that, or for me, I always make the joke, and I starting to sound like my dad. Like, are there any things that you've like been surprised that you've said, and then you've looked in the mirror like, was that me or was that my father? Like any of those moments?
There's well, it's unique looking at it because like we obviously you don't know what you're gonna get. We got a girl, and I grew up with a brother. So like growing up, like there was no sister in the house. My wife Dana grew up with a brother. There's a lot. It's really interesting how it works. Is like it's a little bit guy heavy if you look at our family, and then the next generation, so Jamie's generation, up until this point has been all girls. So there's like 6 girls amongst the cousins, and it's unbelievable. And so that's something to me where feels really natural. Like in the past several years, it's kind of been like there's almost like a badge of honor when you're a girl dad. But like, I'm learning a ton about how Dana puts her hair in pigtails and like how to dress her in a way that doesn't make her look like a tomboy and like stuff like that. And so that's kind of all new for me. That's something where it's like, I guess my my dad had a sister, so he was more familiar with that, but he didn't have a daughter. So that's a little bit different. I will say, like, overall, something that's kind of funny to look at is like one of the things I was most like, oh man, that's going to be a lot, or like I was not looking forward to, is the changing diapers.
Right.
And that's the thing where it's like you rip the band-aid off of that so quick. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's this, anybody who's had kids know that when they're new, like just born in the hospital, there's some crazy stuff that comes out of them. And so
they've been in their mom for 9 months, so they got to get all that stuff out of them.
Exactly. So I swear to God, it was like a chocolate covered banana came out. Anyway, that was like the first diaper I ever changed. And so it was like me, and I'm like, oh my God. And then my parents were there, helped out, Dana helped out. And so we're all just cracking up. It was kind of like a massive rip the Band-Aid moment. Now it's like, I've changed her diapers so much. It's like, you don't even think about it anymore. Right. You get used to it so quick. So little stuff like that, it's like that you think is going to be a big thing in your mind. It really isn't, just because it's commonplace and you do it so much. So there's that. And then I guess otherwise, I think the whole, back to the development piece, it's crazy how many milestones there are for a baby in the first year, especially. Right. And then it gets beyond that. But like, I just totally didn't anticipate like it's heartwarming and like exciting every step of the way. You know, it's like when they start to open their eyes, and then when they start to smile at you, and then when they start to crawl and eat, and like it was so fun, you know, exposing to different foods and stuff. So it's like every step of the way has been something where it's just like I really hadn't thought about that. You know, it's like I just kind of thought from a distance, it's like it's babies, they obviously grow and develop, but it's like there's something exciting literally like every week or every 2 weeks.
No, that's great. And I didn't think about, I was the oldest of four, I had three sisters. You know, I have 4 biological out of the 7 kids that I'm responsible for, and the first 2 are girls. I've always been around them. You know, I knew the secret to put the eraser on the back of the earring. You know, I you know how to
yeah, we're not at that yet. I guess that's for when we're older.
Well, yeah, you will learn how to stop the running nylons if they haven't come up with some special material by then with nail polish. You know, there'll be all these tricks you'll have to learn. Like, I wasn't even thinking about like putting hair in ponytails or pigtails or, you know, that kind of stuff. I was around all of that. And so having that'd be like exciting for you. Like, it's like you're almost getting to see the world through a different perspective or lens as well, you know?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's great.
And you never know, like, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, did she do play dates? And you said she's got 6 other cousins, I think, that are all girls.
Yeah, we just did a couple weeks ago in the city. We just did a cousins meetup. So we're, you know, we live in New Jersey. Another couple more of my cousins live in New Jersey. One of them has a daughter who's almost exactly 1 year older than Jamie. Okay. So shout out Loki. She's, you know, we were like the first babysitters for her. Like, she's great. It's amazing. That's also huge. Like, she is so much bigger than Jamie is, and it's a 1 year difference. Like, it's crazy. It's like Logan's like an adult. Anyway, so we got some, you know, baby cousins in Jersey, and then on Long Island as well. My cousins, technically my second cousin Jordan, he has 3 girls. Okay, and we all just met up in the city at the Children's Museum, and then we went to Carmine's and had a big, true family style meal. And so, you know, we love to see family as much as we can, and it's great that it's like that next generation is starting. There's some little kids there. We take her to daycare nearby, so she's got some friends for daycare. We haven't done too much like play dates outside of that, but whenever there's like someone's birthday party that's like a kid of like, you know, one of my friends or one of Dana's friends, that's always great, and it's really fun to see her socialize and interact with stuff. And up until this point, she's mostly been like, you know, like the young one there in those scenarios, but now it's like we're getting to the point where it's like sometimes there's a baby younger than that. So so it's so fun with that. And daycare is a wild thing too, because it's like it's so helpful. Obviously, it's like Dana can go to work, I can actually get work done, but it tires Jamie out so much to the point where it's like, you know, Dana will pick her up and bring her home, and typically around like 5 o'clock or so. And Jamie is like so dead tired that it's like you really don't have that long before bed that she just kind of hits the wall. So it's like you need to feed her, you need to bathe her, you read to her, put her to bed. Like, so that's where it's like, that's gotten me to like get up early and be like, hey, if I have like half an hour to spend with her before she goes off for the day, like that's really valuable time.
Awesome.
So I've come to appreciate all that too.
That's good. That's a lot of fun. You mentioned Bluey. Is that the direction that you're going when you get a chance to watch shows?
Probably. Well, we did put it on a flight a couple months ago, but Jamie was like, she was on the seatback screen. She was just like hitting, like fast forwarding through everything and got. So I think she watched 7 Bluey episodes in about 2 minutes. So it's pretty impressive. Now they are pretty short, but no, I don't know the kids shows that well yet, but Bluey's obviously huge. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. People say Coco Melon, that their intro sound gets stuck in your head.
Right.
So there's going to be lots more of that. For now, are you familiar with Tony's, the Tony box?
No.
This is like I think it's like the most brilliant kids toy I've ever seen. It's like a German company, Tony, Tonies.
Okay.
It's literally it's a cube. It almost looks like a GameCube, except it's like a foam box.
Okay.
And they have all these little figurines that you put on top, and then each of those little figurines, and there's like an Elmo one, there's Bluey, they have licenses for everything. It plays music and all these different songs. So it's like a music box.
Okay. Yep.
Anyway, each character has like 40 minutes or so in it. So it just repeats and it's all magnetized. You take it off, it stops playing, you put it on. So babies love it because you can play with it. And obviously there's a bunch of music, but I just think it's so brilliant because they can make an unlimited amount of characters like these Tonys to put on top of the box here. And people will love it. There's endless licensing there. So right now, Jamie loves those. She loves listening to the music. Like you can tell she lights up when certain songs she knows come on, but also she loves these little Tony characters, and she likes, I don't know if this is what Tony's intended. She loves pulling them off and seeing what happens and then putting them back on. And so it might be kind of hard to listen to. There's a lot of, she's like, a DJ, like chopping and screwing the sound, but
yeah, so she could be a DJ, is what you're saying.
She could be. Yeah. She's very, well, we joke she could be she loves to eat, so she could be a food taste tester. That's up there. And she loves anything with movement. So we're like, she's definitely going to be interested in like swimming and gymnastics and soccer and all that stuff.
Well, that's great. So I'm a Gramps. Have you witnessed your dad change at all? Like, have you seen a guy that like, this is the guy that like made me mow the lawn and he's oohing and on? I mean, is he a different person than you knew?
Yeah. I mean, I think you could tell how much, and obviously this goes for my mom, it goes for Dana's parents. Like you can tell that they just want to spend as much time with Jamie as possible. And it's like, like they're doing more trips here, they want us to visit more. They'll rearrange their schedule just to like get that time with their granddaughter. And I think you can tell me from what all I've heard from grandparents is being a grandparent is literally the best job in the world.
It is. This is what I've said because I want to make sure my kids don't take it the wrong way. It's the best part of being a dad, and you can give them back, like you can hand them back, and it's especially like after you've, I'm the one that's running around and giving them cookies and playing chase and hanging them upside down, and is there like. They're not going to be very happy. Here you go. You guys, it was really good. I'm glad you guys came over. I love you. Take some pictures with them so I could have, evidence, and then they go. So I think it's that. Like it's being a dad is great. Being a granddad is just like it sounds. It's just a little bit better because you have these extra privileges.
Right. Totally. Yeah. You can in a way turn it off and on depending on how much help she needs with the diaper and all that. But my dad, he's an amazing grandpa, and he's so great with her, and he probably is about to play with way more girl toys and play kitchens and stuff like that than he expected. So that will rock his world. But he's you can tell he has such a like I was like what I was talking about before. He has such like a love and curiosity for kind of like every step of the journey, and like every time she does something new. And so we love FaceTiming with them. It's like we'll FaceTime with them every week. Same thing with Dana's parents. And
Right.
I mean, they would do a live stream FaceTime 24/7 if they could. Like they just can't get enough of Jamie.
It's one of the best things. I mean, I think I make jokes. Everybody's looking at their hand. We spend too much time on our devices. We're too technology rich, and we should just have more regular conversations. And I'm the and guy. And FaceTime with my grandkids is like the best thing in the world. Like for me, I get call it maybe between 5 and 10 minutes of them telling me and talking, and then they want to push the red button and turn it off. Like that's the experience. And so I've got a bunch of screenshots of me and them talking, and it's made the distance so much easier. Like I remember my grandmother would write me letters. So I have like these letters in cursive that I can go back and read. And it's like,
Now, could you read it? Well, I'm sure you could then. Can you read cursive handwriting today is the question, because I don't know if the next generation can.
I don't think the next generation can and will be able to, and that's concerning. I know that's a whole podcast all in itself. I can still read it. I can still write it. I do from time to time write it as, can I still do this? And it's just as chicken scratch as it was when I first did. When I did the Navy, they make you write block letters. Like they don't want people not to be able to read which color or whatever, the person's armed the bomb with or whatever. So there's a, purpose of the block letter. I do more of the block letter just because I got in that habit and it's easier, but I can do the cursive. But back to what I was saying. FaceTime, grandkids, awesome. It has changed the world. And we've actually got 2 grandkids that are 10 this year. And both of them have devices, and I'll be sitting there and Emmy's phone rings and I look over and you can see Emmett and it's our oldest grandson, and pops up and they have a FaceTime. Like his mom is not part of the equation. They're just already communicating, and he lives a mile and a half away. So yeah.
Well, congrats
Technology.
on
Yeah, technology has been fantastic for that kind of stuff. So
that. Yeah, totally. I was never a big FaceTimer. Like we do it occasionally, but now it's a game changer. Like we FaceTime with the grandparents and uncles, way more than just typical calls for sure.
my son was and still is a texter. And if it wasn't for my granddaughter, I wouldn't get the FaceTime. So I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. Like it's that whole generation in there feels like they didn't call people. Like, and I I actually call people now on the phone, and I'm doing it simulating. I call them and they answer. I apologize for not texting them and checking to make sure it was okay that I called them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I call. It's what we used to do back in the old days."
Well, isn't that one of the obviously there's so many changes with technology. I know you and our buddy Patrick covered this on a recent episode, but just how much tech has changed. But isn't one of the whole fascinating things about phones and how that's changed everything is just like the erosion or disappearance of voicemail. Like voicemail used to be everything, and now you can still hear voicemail, but especially the younger generation is like would never think to leave a voicemail. Like why would they? When obviously it ties to you can just text, most of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But still,
The voicemails that I have on my phone are all people over 30. I don't think I have youthful people. They call, and if I don't answer, they send a text.
yeah,
Call me back. Yeah. And it's
that's a good way to tell.
Our oldest is a couple years away from 40, and she's never been one that ever checks voicemail. So, I've been used to people being like that for years and years. So anyways, so technology for the most part has been helpful. It is also, like you said, it's eroded a lot of the the getting the skinning of the knees. Like it's eroded the, learning process. And I was going to say, I think I listened to a podcast, maybe it was yesterday, or I was on Spaces with a bunch of people. I do a lot of social things, and they were talking about guys, and they're a non they're not able to deal with rejection. Like rejection is something that just isn't doable anymore. And it's like, I think we were talking about it, and it's like, I'm in sales. Like rejection is what I have to go through every day. So it's not I don't know where I was going to go.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't know what I was
I
going
got
to ask.
something there. I got
Yeah.
something there. Because I was talking with a client recently whose son is playing baseball and is, I don't know, like 10 years old, something like that, and dealing with like the mental journey of playing baseball. And it was taking me back because baseball was my first love. It's my, my favorite sport, my dad's favorite sport, my grandpa's favorite sport. Like it's just kind of in the blood. My dad played third base through high school. Actually played against Don Mattingly, which is pretty cool, when he was in high school.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I was way more of an outfielder, really good fielder. Hitting was more up and down. But I was a lefty, so they'd put me in a pitch sometimes, even though I couldn't throw that hard. Anyway, I think like baseball is the best thing you can do growing up, from like a getting used to failure, getting used to rejection standpoint.
Right.
It makes you so mentally strong, because like it gives you those lessons. And you hear about it, Ted Williams started off his famous book this way. It's like, it's a sport where if you fail 7 out of 10 times at the plate, you're an all-star. Like it's unbelievable. And so it's like, I look back really fondly of all those years playing baseball, was rec at the start and then travel. Like you get really good at, like, sometimes you fail at stuff, and what you do next, like you just get back out there, like try to make a good play in the field, or, there's always the next at bat, or there's always the next game. Like, it's really tough. Like, you're going to have times when you cry, you're going to have times when you're upset. There's going to be times when you like, man, like is baseball not for me? But it's like, that taught me so many great things. And then going up to like football, playing football in high school, a good football program, like that taught me so much about discipline. And so I think somehow that we've gone into this youth sports tangent,
right,
from the brain and mental health standpoint. Like when you're growing up, those things are so valuable, both on the rejection front and the discipline front.
Yeah, and competition in general, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Teamwork, learning how to, play well with others, learning how to, strategize, all that kind of stuff. No, I'm a big fan. All my kids had sports as, almost a requirement. Like, and not even like it was a requirement, almost like it was just understood. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, they all did their thing, and yeah. It was more, and I was going to say, it was more for getting more than just getting them out of the house. It was, as you were saying, you learn all these lessons, and I see so many people, kind of cooped up in the house and as I said, back on the devices or playing Xbox, if that's still a console. I don't know what they call it anymore.
I guess PS5 now, but I don't know what's like legit PS5 and what's like spam online fake PS5. So I don't know.
I don't either. I was gonna say, everybody that I'm friends with that's a gamer has a PC. They do it with a big, powerful PC.
Gamers,
yeah. My son's one of them. Like, why did you get that? Like, and he's into all that stuff. But I don't see the people going out and doing the rubbing in the shoulders and doing the things like we're talking about. And it feels like it would be good to anybody listening. If you got kids, get them in sports. It's good for them.
Totally. Yeah.
Good for their bones.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. It'll be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see too. It's changing. Like, look at the world now compared to what it used to be. Like, who knows? Like, by the time Jamie's in high school, there might be, women's flag football teams for, like a ton of schools. Like you don't know. And so it's really fun to see it'll be really fun to see what Jamie wants to get into, like what sport sticks with her or what hobbies stick with her. So that would be another thing. Obviously, we're a long time from that, but that'll be another.
She jamming out the music. Does she like music?
Oh my gosh, this is her dance for those watching on video. Sometimes you get 2 fingers in the air, but it starts with 1 finger in the air. You can feel her move I mean, you could see her dance when a song comes on, and she loves to be the center of attention too. And when enough people are looking at her and she knows that everybody's looking, she'll just start clapping out of nowhere. So,
That looked like a Travolta move.
She loves Saturday Night Fever. Big fan of anything Tarantino. No.
That's great. Hey, so I do this where we have multiple conversations over time as a podcast. So I was going to say I'm going to let you go because I'm up against the time I told you I would keep you, but I'd love to have you back. I've enjoyed the conversation. I'm grateful not only that you did the conversation, but that you nudged me along a couple of years ago, and that this is a reality.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'd love to be a guest anytime. I think obviously what you've done from a walking standpoint, a walking talking standpoint is really cool, but just your focus on just like having conversation, like more people are having conversations like this that can turn into whatever. I think it's a good thing for the world, and even for a good thing for clearing your throat potentially. So thank you so much, Robbie Gramps, and would be happy to come on anytime. And we'll talk offline as well. I know you're long overdue for coming on my show as well, so we'll talk more about that and getting that set up too. I think it'd be really cool, full circle.
Last question. How was it to interview the CEO of Athletic Greens? Does that feels like that's you're in the prime time seat at that point?
Thank you. Well, there's so Kat Cole, who's just episode 359 on Wild Business Growth. She's amazing. I think one of the things that whenever I've been fortunate to interview a guest who's a quote unquote bigger name or at a bigger name company, I'm always struck by the same sort of feeling of just like, wow, this is like first of all, this is somebody I had no business talking to, but because of podcasting, it made it possible. So that's really cool.
Right.
But two, just how down to earth and how genuine and how just like real people these supposedly larger than life figures are. I'm always, I guess, taken aback in a good way and inspired by that. Kat is like, she's exactly who she is. Like if you follow her content on social media and followed her throughout her career, like she's always so genuine and authentic. And that really leaves an impression on everybody that she's worked with or, posted about or talked to online. And she's also just, as we changed messages about, she's also just kind of like on another level of like so sharp with being productive and thinking big and things like that. So endlessly inspired by her. I think that's just kind of like a takeaway for any podcast host out there is like, you could, in today's world, you can interview people that you think are out of reach and out of touch, and the technology and connected technology has made it that much more feasible. But I think if you put in the time to actually reach out to people, and especially once you've established like, hey, I've done this many episodes or I've interviewed this many people, like you can get people on your show and have amazing conversations with them that you thought were untouchable. So it's always pretty cool to take a step back and reflect and also learn from those people.
No, I appreciate that. And I do think that's another one of the positive things from this technology stuff is that it's good. It's a couple of things. I was going to say there's also a benefit to the other person, right? They now have opportunity to use your material as their content to either promote their brand or, do things that are positive on their side as well. So it all works out. Well, thank you for sharing that and that opinion. Thank you for being here. Robbie Gramps is going to sign off, but we will see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, RRG. We'll call you. It almost sounds like RG3. I don't know if you might be a better quarterback, but all right. Have a great one. Thank you.
You too. Take care. See ya.